Welcome back to Stuttering Sports. Today is April 7th, 2021, and the topic for today is the Carolina Panthers and why I think they're poised to be a breakout team in 2020. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This is obviously coming after the news from 2 days ago where Sam Darnold was traded from the Jets to the Panthers in exchange for a 2022 second, 2022 fourth, plus a 2021 sixth if you did not already know. But this was kind of the last piece that I think they needed in their young roster to really be poised to make a breakout run in 2021. And I am ecstatic that they made this move. I personally think, just to get this right out of the way, I personally think that the Jets got a great deal, and I think that the Panthers got a great deal. And real quick, the reason for that is because for the Jets side of things, let's face the facts, they were not getting a first-round pick. There is not a big market for Sam Darnold, so getting 3 draft picks, including a second-round pick, is a great haul for Darnold. And looking at it from the Panthers side of things, they didn't have to give up a pick during this year's draft. They did not have to give up their 2021 second, which is massive. And the reason for that being is because you can use that pretty high second round pick this year to potentially give Darnold a weapon or an offensive lineman. That is huge to me. So yeah, I think that this was a win-win trade for both sides, but now let's talk about why I think Darnold is such a great fit in Carolina. The first thing being, I think a lot of pressure and weight is taken off of Sam Darnold's shoulders. Now, do not get me wrong, there will still be a lot of pressure. They exercise his fifth-year option. This is his make-or-break year. This is Darnold's make-or-break year, whether he proves he's a franchise guy or is a career backup. This is the year that shows that. So I think there is a good amount of pressure, but doing it in New York for the Jets, who just had the number 2 pick, compared to doing it in Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina, those are 2 entirely different ball games. So I do think that there's still a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold's shoulders. He has so much to prove and so much to lose. But doing this in Carolina is a far cry from doing it in New York. So I do think immediately there, that's massive for Sam Darnold. This is still a very, very, very crucial year. But it's not as crucial as if he was in New York right now. And the second reason, obviously, being coaching-wise. Matt Rule and Joe Brady are coming back to Carolina for their second season. They didn't have a great 2021 campaign. You can blame that on injuries. You can blame that on Teddy Bridgewater. But I do think them two coming back will obviously give Darnold a lot of help because they have that year under his belt. They can kind of grow together. That's a really big thing to me. Then the third thing, obviously the biggest thing, is without a doubt the weapons Carolina already has. They already have a top 2 running back in Christian McCaffrey. You can make a debate between him and Derrick Henry. And they have receivers in DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. And they have the number 8th overall pick, which can be used for another offensive weapon. So just immediately there, Darnold was going from throwing the ball to Rashad Perryman and handing it off to Frank Gore to throwing it to Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore and handing it off to Christian McCaffrey. That is such a massive difference. He's going from instability at the head coaching position to immediate stability with head coach and offensive coordinator because the Panthers are not going to fire Rule and Brady. That would be just fucking stupid. So I do think Darnold is getting weight lifted off of his shoulders by giving him weapons, giving him stability with his coaches, and just putting him in Carolina. Put him in this pretty irrelevant state. You know, Charlotte's not irrelevant, but it's not a massive city. Just put him in Charlotte for a year and let's see how this works out. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to keep on reiterating this. There's still a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold. This is the year where he makes or breaks his career. But doing it in New York, it's a whole different fucking ball game than doing it in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I do really like the offense. I do think Sam Darnold's going to succeed, by the way. I do think Darnold, I mean, there's a reason why he didn't get traded for that much. There is a reason for it. Let's face the facts. He wasn't that good, but I do think that was definitely more of Adam Gase and just a poor job of putting weapons around him. I definitely think that was more of that than Darnold himself. Let's face the facts. The Jets botched Sam Darnold's beginning to his career, and I do think Carolina has the potential to revive it, and I think they'll succeed. They're in a kind of tough division, not really. They have the Buccaneers, the Saints are falling apart. The Falcons, I guess, can maybe win 6-7 games next year, I guess. So they're in an iffy division. They obviously have the Buccaneers, but they're in an iffy division. Sam Darnold's coming in with Matt Rule and Joe Brady. They have weapons. Their offensive line, by the way, just to touch on it, it's not great. There's nothing special to it. I think they ranked 16th or 17th in opponent sacks per game last season. I'm not quite sure on that, but they're just a middle-of-the-road line. They could definitely draft an offensive lineman during this draft. But now let's transition over to the defense. This is what I really wanted to talk about today because I think they have a lot of underrated young pieces on that defensive side. So let's start off with the defensive line, the front seven. Let's get right into it with the young pieces they have. They have Brian Burns coming off of a great 2020 season where he had 9 sacks. They have Derek Brown, who had a really underrated rookie campaign. He didn't put up big numbers, but he did have 12 QB hits last year. That's a pretty big number. And also Brian Burns did have 21 QB hits last season, so those two guys are wreaking havoc back there. And with one of their second-round picks last year, they did draft Yetur Gross-Matos, an edge rusher from Penn State. He didn't play much during the 2020 season, but that is a young piece who was a really good prospect coming into the draft. So they do have 3 young pieces on that defensive line. 2 guys that I really like, and then a guy who I quite frankly don't know much about, and that guy is Yetur Gross-Matos. Transitioning over to the linebacking core. This is what I want to talk about the most because they made a lot of interesting moves back here. And what they did is they brought in Hassan Reddick for a 1-year, $8 million deal, which is a fantastic pickup. Then they also brought in linebacker Denzel Perryman from the Chargers. 2 great pickups to help out that linebacking core that was mediocre last season. And I do think bringing in Hassan Reddick helps out the pass rush so much. You have him, Brian Burns, and Derek Brown. That's a great threesome considering Hassan Reddick had 12.5 sacks last season. You bring him in for a 1-year little short deal. Hopefully you can re-sign him next offseason. That would be huge for the defense. But yeah, with the linebacking core, I do think bringing in Hassan Reddick and Denzel Perryman is massive for that defense. Put them together with Shaq Thomas, you got yourself a pretty good defensive front. Going over to the secondary, obviously they had a breakout rookie last year, and that rookie was safety Jeremy Chin, who they drafted with their other second-round pick, and he had a fantastic rookie season. I do not have the stats pulled up in front of me, but he was in talks for Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's just a shame that Chase Young was in the same draft class as him, but Jeremy Chin had a fantastic 2020 season, and if he can make a big leap, then he'll already be considered a top 7, top 8 safety in the NFL, because that's where I think he'll be in 3-4 years. He will be one of the highest paid safeties in the league in no time. Jeremy Chin is simply that good. But where I do think they could grow at is definitely the secondary. I think Dante Jackson is good. Is he necessarily a cornerback 1? That is up in the air, but I do think he is a really good cornerback, and that's where I really think they could grow at during the draft. Because if the Panthers really wanted to, they could pick the defensive player of their choice. I do not think a defensive player will go in the top 7. I really do think that they will all fall down to 8. So the Panthers can pick whoever they want at pick 8 as long as he's on defense. Because let's just say all 4 of the pass catchers are gone. The 4 pass catchers being Kyle Pitts, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Jamar Chase. You get it. Let's say they're all gone. The quarterbacks go top 4 and Penei Sewell goes 5. Just that hypothetical. You can pick any defensive player you want. You can pick anyone. You can pick Micah Parsons. You can pick Jalen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley, J.C. Horn. You can pick whoever you want, and having that freedom is definitely massive because now quarterback is definitely off the table for the Panthers. I don't see them trading for Darnold, having Teddy Bridgewater still under contract, and then saying, well, we got to pick Justin Fields or Trey Lance. That would make absolutely no sense. They're not going quarterback, okay? That's just not happening. They could go one of the pass catchers. I would be all for that. I think Kyle Pitts with this team would be so fun to see, but I mean, he will probably be gone at 8, to be honest. So I think it's either Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase, or you go defense. Because they're not in desperate need of that pass catcher. As much as I like Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, I wouldn't really pick them at 8, knowing you could help solidify that secondary. Knowing that you can bring in Micah Parsons to line up with Denzel Perryman, Shaq Thompson, and then Hassan Reddick. You could definitely pick another edge rusher there. You could definitely trade down and just pick the edge rusher of your choice, really, just in case the Giants don't take one. So I think the Panthers can go a lot of different directions during the draft, but I think regardless that they are going to be a breakout team in 2021. I think Sam Darnold, that was a great trade for both sides, to be honest. The Panthers got a great deal, and so did the Jets. The Panthers have a situation that I think Darnold can thrive in immediately and hopefully grow during this season because this is his make or break year. Then I think the Panthers, they could go any direction they want, and they have young pieces across that defense and offense and the coaching staff, to be honest. So I do wish the Panthers the best of luck during the draft. I do think they're going to be good. They are going to be good. So that's going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends. If not, share it with your friends. Leave a like if you want to see more, and subscribe if you want to see more. Yeah, that's going to do it for me today. Hope you enjoyed and have a great day.